Pretty much whenever I get a call from somebody looking to move into a specific area, it's almost always going to be a school district. People don't really call me and say, hey, I want to be in this particular city more than any other city, but they will call me and say, hey, I want to be in this particular school district more than any other school district. With that in mind, let's take a look at the top 10 school districts in the suburbs of Chicago. Before we dive in, I wanted to go ahead and share my methodology here. This isn't my opinion. I'm not just ranking the schools that I think are coolest or the ones that are closest to my home. So what I did is I started with niche.com's list of the top school districts in Illinois. From there, I did a little bit of chopping. So I took out the school districts that were just higher grade school districts, meaning that they were just high schools or just high schools and junior high schools. But with that in mind, every one of these school districts has at least one elementary school, one middle school, and one high school. So the next thing I did is I filtered this out to just suburbs of Chicago. Suburbs can be a little loosely defined, but pretty much where I drew the line was about an hour and a half outside of Chicago. For the most part, the next school districts that might have been included if I made the radius bigger were about 2 hours outside of Chicago. And even if you're only going in once a week, 2 hours just seems way too much. Now I recognize that an hour 30 is still kind of on the brim, but I definitely know some folks that live in that hour 30 radius and commute to the city maybe once a month or once every other week for in-person meetings that need to take place at the office. Hey, what's going on? I'm AJ Guzman. I'm a local realtor here in Chicagoland. I make these videos for people looking to move to or around Chicagoland. So if that's you, I'll go ahead and leave my information in the description and flash it across the screen real quick. Do not hesitate to reach out. I'd love to connect. Kicking us off in the number 10 spot is going to be Huntley Community School District number 158. Now the big portions of this school district are going to be Huntley, Illinois and Algonquin, Illinois. When I pull it up right now on Google Maps, it's about an hour and a half to downtown Chicago. Huntley School District really seems to excel in athletics, with it actually being the number 9 overall ranked school district for athletes in Illinois. In District 158, there's going to be 5 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, all feeding into 1 high school, Huntley High School, which is getting an 8 out of 10 on great schools, but it's actually pulling in a 9 out of 10 for college readiness. I forgot to mention these 2 stats for Huntley while I was recording. So Huntley has a student-teacher ratio of 15:1, and if you're looking for a single-family home in Huntley, the median list price right now is going to be about $410,000. Now we're moving a lot closer to Chicago with our number 9 spot, which is going to be Lisle School District. That's Community Unit School District number 202. Now, if you recall, the criteria to make it onto this list was at least 1 elementary school, 1 junior high school, and 1 high school, and that is exactly what Lisle School District brings to the table. Whereas Huntley in the number 10 spot served about 8,600 students, Lisle School District serves about 1,500. Lisle School District is getting an A+ on niche.com. All 3 of the schools are ranked above average on greatschools.org. It's actually showing that it has a student-teacher ratio of 12:1. And if you're looking for a single-family home in Lisle, Illinois, right now, the median list price is going to be about $490,000. For the number 8 spot, we're moving just a couple towns east over to Community School District number 201, also known as Westmont School District. So Westmont School District is going to get an A+ on niche.com. We're going to have 2 elementary schools, 1 middle school, and 1 high school, all servicing about 1,400 students. Westmont School District 201 does boast a 12:1 student-teacher ratio. The elementary schools and middle school do feed into Westmont High School, which is getting a 10 out of 10 on great schools, and it's actually a 10 out of 10 for college readiness as well. When you start searching for a home in Westmont, Illinois, especially if you're looking at a single family home, you're going to see prices hover just below $410,000 today. Coming in at our number 7 spot, just a little over an hour outside of Chicago, is St. Charles School District number 303. With 11 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and 2 high schools, St. Charles School District serves about 12,000 students, giving it a student-teacher ratio of about 13:1. St. Charles School District does have an A+ on niche.com, and when we look specifically at the high schools, we're going to see St. Charles East and St. Charles North, with St. Charles North being the better rated on great schools, where it receives an overall 7 out of 10, but that is a 9 out of 10 for college readiness. If you find yourself in the market for a single family home in St. Charles, today you're going to be looking right around $540,000. Now what's really cool about St. Charles is it's going to be the number 1 school district in Kane County. It's actually a part of a cluster of cities called the Tri-Cities, made up of St. Charles, Batavia, and Geneva, both of which have really great school districts in their own right, and as a matter of fact, I think when I did the list, Geneva might have been number 12 or 13, just barely outside of the top 10. Now coming in at the number 6 spot is another A+ on niche.com, about an hour and 15 minutes outside of Chicago. We are going to be looking at Lake Zurich School District number 95. With 5 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and 1 high school, Lake Zurich School District 95 services about 5,500 students, rounding out with a 13-to-1 student-teacher ratio. These schools feed into Lake Zurich High School, which despite an 8 out of 10 great schools rating, is actually rated 10 out of 10 for college readiness. Median home price for a single family home in Lake Zurich, you're going to be looking at about $440,000. Moving into the second half of this top 10 list, we're going to be looking at number 5, which is District 200, otherwise known as Wheaton School District. Going to be home to Wheaton Warrenville South and Wheaton North High Schools. Matter of fact, Wheaton School District is going to be home to about 13 elementary schools, 4 middle schools, and those 2 high schools I mentioned. Servicing about 12,000 students, or actually a little less than 12,000 students, for a student-teacher ratio of 13-to-1. If I hadn't already mentioned it, Wheaton School District is getting an A+ on niche.com. And Great Schools has the higher of the 2 high schools, rated at an 8 out of 10. That's going to be Wheaton North, which is getting a 9 out of 10 for college readiness. Now, if you do find yourself looking for a single family home in Wheaton, right now the median single family home price tends to float around $510,000. At the number 4 spot is another A+ rated niche.com school district, Elmhurst School District 205. On our list today, Elmhurst is going to be the one closest located to the city of Chicago, with a drive from downtown Chicago lasting about 40 minutes with light traffic. But if you commute by train, and a couple of these cities did have trains, they're just a little bit longer of a commute, you can get to downtown Chicago in about 30 minutes via the express train in the morning. When I have families who are moving from Chicago to the burbs, Elmhurst tends to be really high on a lot of those families' lists. With 8 elementary schools, 3 middle schools, and 1 high school, Elmhurst School District is serving about 8,300 students for a student-teacher ratio of about 14-to-1. These schools feed into York High School in Elmhurst, which despite only getting a 2 in equity on greatschools.org, is actually getting a 10 out of 10 in college readiness, which gives it its overall score of 7 out of 10. When home shopping for a single family home in Elmhurst, we're going to see that median price be about $630,000. Now it seems like as good a time as any to mention that with these median home prices, they're exactly that. They're the median. We're going to see some homes way below that. We're going to see some homes way above that. I think Elmhurst is a great example of that, with the downtown area having such a huge concentration of luxury homes, $1 million plus, even luxury condos being built there as well. And then some of the outskirts and some of the other areas serviced by the school district, it wouldn't be unrealistic to find a home for $350,000 or less, and it'd still be a single family home. Before we dive into the top 3, I wanted to ask if you could do me a huge favor and hit the like button down below. I'm pretty new to this whole YouTube thing, so if you could just help me feed the algorithm, I would really appreciate that. I want to continue to make videos that help people move to and around Chicagoland. So if you have ideas, just go ahead and drop some comments down below. I will be responding to every single comment I get. I'm really looking forward to engaging with everybody and hopefully building a channel that's actually pretty useful. All right, moving on to the podium, and the number 3 spot is going to be Barrington School District, just about an hour and 15 outside of Chicago. School District 220 is getting that A+ on niche.com with 9 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and 1 high school, servicing about 8,200 students for a student-teacher ratio of 13-to-1. Now these schools do feed into Barrington High School, which is getting an 8 out of 10 on Great Schools, and that actually is being brought down by a 5 out of 10 for equity. Barrington High School does get a 10 out of 10 for college readiness. Now before I dive into the median home price, I think this is going to be the one that's most controversial among locals. So I just want to remind everyone that Barrington and all of these areas are pretty big areas, so the median can be skewed a little bit. As of today, if you're looking for a single family home in Barrington, Illinois, the median home price is going to be about $550,000. Now there are some things that contribute to that, like historically low inventory, so the sample size is a little smaller, which could be part of that skew. For instance, just back in February, the median home price was actually about $800,000, which might sound truer to locals. But again, can't stress this enough, just like all of these cities, there's going to be homes in a lot of different price brackets, so it's going to be really important to explore. Moving into that number 2 spot, we're of course course going to be looking at another A+ rated school on niche.com, Indian Prairie School District, School District 204. Although largely based in Aurora, Illinois, it is going to service parts of Aurora, parts of Naperville, and parts of Bolingbrook. I'm tempted to say that 204 is actually the largest school district on our list today, servicing about 25,000 students. That includes 21 elementary schools, 8 middle schools, and 3 high schools. Now jumping on over to grade schools, we're going to see that those 3 high schools, Matea Valley, Waubonsie Valley, and Neuqua Valley High Schools, are all getting an 8 out of 10 on grade schools. Furthermore, they're actually all getting a 10 out of 10 for college readiness, which is one of the big reasons that I get so many calls for this school district, both its size and its overall grade schools rating. Now with that many students in the school district, you might expect it to be lacking in teachers, but that's just not the case. We're still going to be looking at a 14-to-1 student-teacher ratio. Now real quick, before we start talking median home price, I want to remind everybody, especially the locals, that this does service 3 different cities. So it services Naperville as well as Bolingbrook and Aurora, Illinois. So that's why the median home price might look unfamiliar if you're familiar with any one of the 3 cities. It's really the amalgamation of all 3. With all that said, we're going to be seeing that median home price be right around $400,000. All right, so to end all the suspense, coming in at the #1 spot is Naperville School District 203. And while it may not surprise you to find out that Naperville School District 204 is getting an A+ on niche.com, you may be surprised to find out that it's servicing almost 17,000 students between its 15 elementary schools, 5 middle schools, and 2 high schools. All of those students resulting in a 14-to-1 student-teacher ratio. Although there's a lot of debate locally about which high school is better, whether it's Naperville Central or Naperville North, on greatschools.org, that title is going to Naperville North, which is getting a 10 out of 10 on grade schools. Now that's a 10 out of 10 for college readiness and a 9 out of 10 for equity. Naperville Central is also getting a 10 out of 10 for college readiness, but an 8 out of 10 for equity, giving it its overall 9 out of 10 on grade schools. Now if you find yourself looking for a home in Naperville, Illinois, first of all, call me. This is my neck of the woods. Second of all, you're going to have a median list price of right around $750,000. Now I've said this probably a dozen times now, even though there's only 10 on the list. This is all subject to where you choose to live within the school district's boundaries. There are going to be home prices that are more affordable, and there's also going to be a ton of luxury homes in downtown Naperville for you to choose from. All right, so that rounds out our list for the top 10 school districts in the suburbs of Chicago. Quick reminder that this criteria did chop off some of the high school districts that are just high schools. It also chopped off some of rural and central Illinois. So if you're a remote worker and maybe you're curious about just the overall ranking of schools in Illinois, let me know in the comments below. That could be a fun video to make for sure. Until next time, thanks for watching. I'm AJ.